now. Hey, it's Matthew Harvey here on the recap. We got James Hartley on my left.
I'm back, and so is Jason.
What's up, fellas? We got a guest.
And it is his birthday, Mr. Garrett Todd.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy birthday,
I do
Garrett.
want to say thank you to all of the birthday wishes that I got on the text message today that I have not replied
You
to.
have not responded to.
Not
You
yet,
should
but it's going
also-
to happen. I will reply before tonight is
Have you
over.
opened your phone up all day?
Not yet.
You haven't even opened it.
You should also thank everyone on social media because I know you don't have access to it.
Yeah.
I think Katie's like your social media director.
She is. I do not know how to log in.
We should recognize that Albert John Hahn, the foreign exchange student
From the
Netherlands, reached out to you and wished you a happy
Al.
birthday, and he said it was a great day for America.
Well, it is.
It is.
I do appreciate that, Al.
Yeah.
How old
if
are
you're
you?
listening. 36.
36.
36 years young.
Midlife right there almost, right?
No. Listen, this is mine and Garrett's last year in our mid-30s. We are still in our mid-30s.
Not a problem.
That's right. It's good.
Wow.
Guys,
I'm
we had
37. Do I count?
Nope, you're in your first year of your late 30s.
Yeah, technically.
Yep, technically. If you
Okay.
break it into like, thirds or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to hang on to every
Tomato,
vestige of my
tomato.
youth I can. We had a great episode with Arvis Buchanan.
Yes,
and
very
Man,
cool.
that was big.
I
Big
like
episode.
it. That is a pillar of the Leonard community.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were talking out back, the generations that came before us. Anytime we lose someone like that and we don't get their stories on record, it's like a history book closing. That's what we were talking about out there, and I'm so thrilled that Arvis was able to come on, and I think he had a good time doing it.
Yeah, found out he plays dominoes.
42.
And
I wanna play a
he's
game
pretty
with him.
good at it.
Yeah.
And it, those that hang out with us, when I say us, I mean myself and Arvis, they'll understand whenever I say I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Arvis will utter that phrase quite a bit. Playing
Well,
dominoes or Nello or anything else like
Arvis,
that.
you play dominoes? He goes, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I noticed
It's like,
the
I
inflection.
like that answer.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
I will say, out of all the games in dominoes, 42 is a bit over my head. I do like the 10 to get in and 5 to score or whatever. That's my just regular bones, man. That's my
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. Me too.
Love it.
Played it a long
don't
time.
don't whisper at me, Garrett. You got to say it in the mic. What are you going to say?
Talking about how intelligent you are. That's
Or-
basically all I had to say.
I lack intelligent when it comes to dominoes. Intelligence. So
I can't believe that we finally have Garrett Todd here. It really happened.
He
He's-
made an appearance.
What happened? Did he answer a phone call? or
no,
text?
he just showed up.
Or did he show up?
I don't know.
Well,
If you hang out on the
this
square
used
long
to
enough,
be-
Garrett will
this-
just show up.
This used to be my hangout.
It's like Bloody Mary. If you say his name enough
Yeah.
times, he'll just kind of pop up.
Is Lump here
Possibly.
too? Where's
Yeah.
Lump?
He could be.
Where's
In-
Lump
in
and
a
Chuckles
Ford,
and
in
all
a
those
red, in a red Ford F-250 sitting outside.
In any kind of red pickup
Well, and
with
you
chicken
know,
lights on it.
if we walk outside, Larry Don Creech might be pulled up talking to
Boy,
us.
that would be a blast.
Ghost
from the
of-
past.
God rest his soul.
R.I.P.
Absolutely.
Creech.
Gave me my
Thanks
first
for
ticket
not hauling us all to jail.
on this road. Right in front of the Rushing's house.
Wait, say that again.
I said thanks for not hauling us all to jail.
Oh no, he was. He knew the
Boy.
game.
Boy.
He knew the game.
He took care of so many of us for so many years. I remember whenever we used to play volleyball down at the city park in the summer, and of course all of us
that
were
went
down
hard
there.
for a while.
It
Yeah,
did,
it did.
and all of us were down there doing things that we should not have been doing. And
Except for
you
me,
know-
a good Christian
you know-
boy at home.
I, regardless of what anybody thinks, Creech was a very good cop.
He was,
And he would let us know. He told us, if you don't act a fool, I'm not going to mess with you. And but if you start acting like an idiot, then we're going to have problems. So as long as you didn't
Don't
act
make
like
me
an
come
idiot,
back.
He weighed
That's
heavily
pretty
on
much what he
common
said.
sense.
Don't make me come back.
Well, that was the big deal is just don't act like an idiot.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he let us know. He said, I'm going to be on. He would tell us when he was going to be on vacation. And, well, he went on vacation. And sadly, some of us did not heed that advice. And we were down at the city park. And the city of Leonard sent 2 police officers down there to take care of what
did
he
not.
normally took care
Right.
of. And, well, we had to definitely try to get ourselves out of a lot of trouble.
That was the
not
great
there.
Leonard riot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
1999 or whatever.
The pits is what they called it.
So here we are on
Garrett-
Thursday.
Garrett, you used to do a little radio, didn't you?
I did.
How's our setup compare? What do you think
To be honest, it's quite a bit
compared to a bottom radio station?
It's quite advanced. Now, whenever I started doing a little bit of radio, I was going to Bonham, Texas, and I was advertising the Leonard Pharmacy because I was working for the Leonard Pharmacy, and we would broadcast from different quick checks.
Okay.
There were a couple of
Remotes is what they call
Yes.
it in the industry.
Which we're going to do some of that coming up.
Yeah, we will.
We do have a remote.
We broadcast from a couple of different quick checks, and there were a couple of different business owners. I was representing the Leonard Pharmacy. Angel Titsworth was there representing her real estate company.
Can you say that on there?
I can, and it's accurate.
Yeah.
But also, we had a couple.
Are we going to have to? We're
You
going to
all
have to
right, Matthew?
bleep that later.
Are you
Nor-
okay? That's an actual name.
Oh,
It is.
No, I was laughing at the face you made.
or is the
That's just my fake.
FCC going to get us in trouble?
We had a insurance salesman there, and we did it from different quick checks in Bonham. But as we progressed, then we got to where we just did it from the studio in Bonham, and it was much like the setup that we have right now.
Is that studio out 56 that way?
No, it's right off the square. Is where it is. It's off of the northwest corner of the square.
They
Is where
broadcast
it
there?
is.
Near
Yes.
the barbershop,
Is
right?
that, Are they still doing it from there?
I don't know.
My understanding is that they are.
They should pipe us in.
What station is that on?
KFYN 1420 AM. The
Can you give us
Warrior.
your best legal call?
legal call?
He didn't know that.
All right. Well, I mean,
You're listening to
you do you want me to go with the 12 o'clock
like
siren
whatever
or
the
what?
legal disclaimer is, like KTCK, Fort Worth, Dallas.
You are listening to the 12 o'clock siren on Matthew Harvey's podcast. Thank you.
You were struggling there for a minute. That's all
I
right.
had to think.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's pretty
I'll
good.
accept that. That
Yeah.
was on the fly.
Yeah, mark that.
Yep.
Okay, what do we got coming up? What are you doing this weekend, Matthew?
We're going to New Braunfels.
I'm
to
jealous
the river
of that. I love New Braunfels.
for a little careless weekend.
Will you have some German food while you're there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Tanya Tucker's in town at Green Hall.
Are you, I was going to say, are you
Two
going to go
sparrows
to
in
Green
a-
Hall?
Like two sparrows in a hurricane.
Yes. Is that what when you think Tanya Tucker? What do you think?
Is that her?
I
when
walked in
I
there.
die, I
Yeah,
may
that's
not
right.
go to
Go to
Texas.
Texas.
That's
Jamestown
what,
Ferry too, right?
that's what I think.
Jamestown Ferry was like a '70s hit for her, wasn't it?
When I
The
hear,
big hit was Delta Dawn.
I think her biggest hit was Marion Glenn Campbell when she was
Her biggest hit?
15 or 16.
Like 12.
Yeah, she was young.
Her
was
biggest
working-
hit.
I was working for the pharmacy and advertising them with the KFYN 1420 The Warrior. And we gave away tickets to Billy Bob's every weekend. Tanya Tucker was performing at Billy Bob's one weekend, and I picked up as many tickets as I wanted whenever I walked out
Yeah.
one Friday afternoon. And the next day, Saturday, I took the people that wanted to go with me
15 of my closest friends.
and confidants.
I did that one summer. Kiss FM was doing an end of summer bash at Six Flags, so they were giving away free tickets.
I went.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
They were giving away free tickets to the park and also free admission to their concert.
Wasn't it like Fiona Apple or
It
something?
was no, it was actually me and Jeffrey Permenter actually went to like 15 different Kiss appearances across the DFW, the Metroplex over a month, and we accumulated like 25 tickets or something like that. It was something stupid,
Well-
but then we all went to Six Flags that day,
Yeah.
and it was
Got a picture from
Destiny's
that.
Child,
Okay.
Mandy Moore,
Oh.
Okay.
I think
Quality.
Little Bow Wow. Which one's Master P's?
Yeah, it was a little Bow Wow.
Or Romeo.
No, that's Low Romeo.
Yeah, Little Romeo.
Yeah, he was supposed to be there, but I think we had like spring storms or fall storms or something like that. He couldn't show up.
Man, there was like a weird.
There was like LFO or something maybe. There's a weird boy band that was there. Maybe
Yeah.
98 Degrees.
That little amphitheater there that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scoreboard.
Do you remember the most memorable thing about it is Beyonce came out and she slid down the staircase on stage.
Yeah, I do remember
She missed
that.
a step and hit her butt and slid all the way down the stage.
It was awful.
Yeah. That was the most memorable part.
Also, that time, I was playing basketball a lot in those days, and we used to play against Caddo Mills, and they had these two large fellows, and one almost murdered me during a game. Luckily, the refs were there, and then I happened to be standing in line behind him at a ride that day,
Nice.
and the girl I was with, she said, "Hey, who's this guy looking at you?" And I turned around and went, "Oh my God!" Because there's not, I'm not a scary person. I'm not scared of things. This man frightened
But when you're
me.
sitting in the line for Batman and Joker, right?
Yeah.
You're like, ah.
Yeah, and this guy's giving me the stink eye.
Yeah,
It
but
was,
we still beat him 40-0.
we did.
basically.
We did. But he almost smashed my head into bleachers because the refs pulled us apart at the game. In the next game, he got set down for smashing a man's head, a full-grown man in
wow.
the bleachers, into the bleachers.
Interesting.
Gee.
And I thought, oh man, I may have bit off more than I could chew almost there.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Was it Bill Lambier?
No, it was not.
Jeez.
It was Troy Berry.
Troy Berry, there he is. He's coming up again.
Yeah.
The legendary
That's it.
Troy Berry.
What you guys got going this weekend? I know our friends with Blake Nation
Yeah.
is playing at Hanks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of forgot about that. So I'm going to talk to the wife tonight. and see
Y'all
if-
might get to go. That's
should-
exciting.
we can find a babysitter maybe.
I know one thing I plan on doing, and that is embracing this cool front.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
supposed to get chilly tomorrow.
Matthew's a hot weather
I'm
guy.
gonna
We're
make
already
some
talking
Garrett's a
chili.
hot weather guy.
I think I'm gonna
Garrett's
make
shaking his head. He doesn't like the.
I've already broke out the hoodies.
Garrett
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm not
understand.
happy.
Matthew both
Not happy
are
about
warm weather. They're tropical people.
Yeah. I'm one step away from moving to Colorado at all times.
Yeah, I'm an inner
Yeah.
fatty, so
Yeah.
it's too hot, man.
It is
hot.
too hot. Why are you laughing, Garrett? I feel like you're judging us.
What do you mean? No, I don't judge anybody. All I know is that when it's cold, it's cold. Okay, and if it gets below 75 degrees,
That's
it's cold.
Yeah, it's chilly. You need a hoodie.
Yeah. I've got one in my truck at all
I've been
times.
hoodie at night and
right
then
now.
tank top on the way home.
I lived in California for a while, as y'all know, and the
Scoreboard.
typical the typical along with the Wagyu today.
Scoreboard.
Yep. I don't know if that was appropriate.
Plantation.
It was
James.
very ill timed. is what
very
it
ill
was.
timed. No, but living in California, it was like 70 during the day, 72 during the day, and 45 degrees at night, and it was that way all year round. Central California, I loved it. I loved it, man. It was. I wore a lot of like flip flops, shorts, and hoodies.
Flirp flirps.
Flirts.
Flirps.
Oh my god.
Garrett, Scott, Todd, G. Todd, gorgeous Garrett Todd,
Thank
Gorgeous
you.
Leonard's
Garrett.
favorite son.
I
Tell
love
us
it.
Where are you
about
at nowadays? What are you
Tell
doing?
us about your birthday.
Well,
Today is your birthday.
3-6.
What have you done to celebrate?
to be honest, I've drank a lot of margaritas,
You have.
and I've hung out with y'all. I've hung out with a lot of good friends today.
Hung out with Arvis beforehand.
Yes, me and Arvis had a very, very good get-together earlier before the interview.
Maybe
So,
went to a Mexican food restaurant.
Maybe in Denison, Texas, Garcia's. As a matter of fact, I believe it's called Kent's Garcia's. I'm plugging them right now.
Okay.
You know, if you, on Thursdays,
Hashtag.
Mention the siren for
thirsty.
free chips and queso.
Thirsty
Mention
Thursdays,
Garrett.
Good luck.
225 margaritas all
What was,
day.
what was the bartender's name?
Is that where you imbibe the margaritas?
Yes.
What was the bartender's name?
No, there's not a bar,
Oh.
but they do have a machine.
What's the machine's name?
Tip your waitresses.
Oh man.
No, it was a good day. Luckily, I was on fall break from my job today.
Oh, you have a
and
job?
I do have a job.
Well,
I
now-
do get paid.
Now that he's back
At the moment.
at Bland,
So yeah, thank you.
what do you so working for Bland? What do you what's your responsibilities there? What's your purview?
I coach girls cross country and girls basketball and boys and girls tennis.
Tennis.
Yes,
Awesome.
and I am the PE teacher for a junior high, and that's what I do every
you guys
day.
doing PE?
We do basketball.
No dodgeball or
no
nothing
dodgeball?
like that?
Well, to be honest,
Can you still
whatever.
do dodgeball in
If
school?
anybody wants to hear this, I whatever. The physical education classes, we do some exercises and dodgeball and things of that nature.
Do y'all have the
and
parachute still?
We do not. We do not.
That's a shame.
And I'm lucky enough to have pre-athletics classes, and so for the sixth graders, that I have a sixth grade boys pre-athletics class and a sixth grade girls pre-athletics class, and so we do skill development. As far as basketball goes, or hand-eye coordination, tossing and catching a ball.
Okay,
Could
things
you
of
put your
that
arms out,
nature.
please, right now,
Let me
and touch your nose?
Look
let
at
me
that.
let me ask.
I don't want to see your guns.
Do
Are you
kids
Put your
Sure.
arms out. No, put your arms out, and then fingers touch your nose. The
you gotta
arms out
close
straight
your
like this.
eyes?
Don't tell
Oh,
me
yeah.
what to do.
Now, wait. I gotta ask. Do kids still play wall ball?
To be honest, they do want to. We do not have a good place to do that.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I think Brandon Woods, Nick Ransom, and maybe Blake Worley taught me how to be a man by playing wall ball.
I still have a scar from one of the three.
Well, I can guarantee this. Kids today, if they are playing wall ball, they're not playing it as viciously as we did.
Oh, well, okay. So let me tell you, like Brandon Woods could throw the ball approximately 200 miles an hour, and he would roll it in water. And I caught one to the back one time, and I hallucinated.
I've done
I
that.
don't know if many people know this, but James Hartley and myself graduated the exact same year.
We did.
And our exact same day of sixth grade, which would have been our first day. You weren't there because you came later on our sixth grade year.
After the first 6 weeks.
Yes. But our first
Did y'all
day
shake hands at the same time when you
in,
graduated?
no, but I do remember him coming in. We were in math class.
Miss Wren's class.
Miss Wren's class.
Yep.
And he walked in, he had a Dallas Stars jacket
Which
on.
that's the second
Yeah,
Dallas Stars
wow,
reference of my
that jacket has been brought up twice now.
Yep.
And I said, who's wearing a Dallas Stars jacket?
Hey, it was a starter jacket. I just wanted to be cool. Okay.
And you were.
All right.
And still are.
I also had a Detroit Lions starter jacket. Okay.
But where I'm going, you weren't there, but my our first day of sixth grade year, Blake Worley pegged me because I stepped up and took a free peg.
And
From
side
Blake
note,
Worley.
side
And you
note
talk
here,
about hurting.
Blake Worley had a rocket for an arm.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Absolute
He
rocket.
Brandon Woods,
came
200
in.
miles
He
an
came
hour.
in like sixth grade and was like nothing I'd ever seen.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this
Throwing a ball,
matters,
and hitting a ball.
but Butch Worley, his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, yes, Butch Worley, his uncle, was the assistant athletic director at the University of Texas
Well,
for
Mm.
many,
It's in
many,
his
many
genes there.
years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
well,
so-
they could throw
Blake was a
tennis
huge-
balls and racket balls that could break the sound
Listen,
barrier.
James,
Okay?
I'm gonna shed a little light on the violence that occurred during wall ball.
I'm pretty
Uh,
familiar.
You never played when nobody brought a tennis ball and all we had was a golf ball. That's when men were men.
Yeah. Yeah. I
We
wasn't
played
that manly.
wall
You're
ball
sick.
with
Yeah.
a golf ball with Brandon Woods
No.
That's broken bones.
and Kyle Becknell.
sir.
Kyle can
Oh.
hum a ball also.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, golf ball. So
Yeah. Well, I remember
you
playing.
remember back in those days when you just wanted to show how tough you were?
Yeah.
Kids today, it's not even in their vocabulary,
No.
but I remember as a little kid, every grown man around would tell you, be tough.
Yeah.
You know,
Now
you
it's all
gotta be
about climate
tough.
change.
I would have
Get
drawn
up,
the
be
line at the
tough.
golf ball.
Yeah.
I remember.
I'm not that tough,
I'm
guys.
sorry.
No, we would beg
The
mom
difference between tough and
to
stupid.
drop us off at school early so we could play tackle football for an hour before school. You know?
Yeah.
It's
Tackle
John
football
Wayne
though
line, isn't it?
is not wall ball
Gotta be
with a
tough.
golf ball.
It is when
Gonna
you
be
weigh
dumb, you gotta
80
be tough.
pounds and Brandon Wood weighs 180.
Yeah, he was a man.
He
in
was a
sixth
grown
grade.
man. We talk about B. Woods a lot on here. We
We
should just
do.
have him on.
We do.
I've heard he listens.
He does listen.
He does.
Does he?
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
Awesome. What's
I don't-
up, Brandon?
I'm not sure which episode he's current to, but he has told me he listens
You know,
and he likes the show.
he goes by
Cool.
many nicknames. One of them is Big Sir Brandon.
B. Woods, yeah, dude, you talk about
BSB.
the best of all time, Leonard Little Goal's 21 player,
No.
Brandon
Oh,
Woods
yeah.
is absolutely
there.
the best.
Also,
Yep.
the best running back that wore a 70s number jersey.
He wore a lot of numbers.
I know. Well, they were like, "Hey, we're going to bring
We
him
need
back
you
on the
for
line."
we need you
Played
for
every
everything.
position. In practice one time in junior high football, Brandon Woods, he was I think he maybe wing back at the time, just that particular day. He played a lot of positions, but he pulled around, and I played cornerback on the backside. And my job when we didn't have a receiver per Coach Wrinkle was go after the quarterback, right?
Yep.
So no receiver. I'm thinking blitz. So it's practice. We're out there by the nursing home where they practice today. And I'm blitzing the quarterback. Brandon pulls around, and he kind of whiffed on the block. He was supposed to pick me up. Well, the coach got onto him really bad. I mean, bad. Rode
And
him.
your fate was sealed.
Brandon, on the next play, the coach says, do it again. So we run the same play over. Brandon has tears in his eyes because he's so pissed off. And Brandon hit me probably 20 or 30 yards from the cable that separates the practice field and the road there by the nursing home. Brandon knocked me over that cable, and my feet got tangled up in it. I remember he was trying to prove a point to the coach,
Point for
And,
He didn't think about your well-being at
No,
that
he
point.
did not.
Yeah.
And Brandon and I were buds, like we were
But you
buds.
kind of didn't like him at that point.
But Brandon was he
Why
was
are you always hitting me,
he was
man?
playing he was playing motivated on that particular play, and man, it hurt.
So I
That's
don't
about
remember.
the time I retired from football.
Yeah, well, I don't remember a lot from football because I wasn't very good at it, so I block it out of my memory. But Patrick Booth, I was a freshman probably, I guess.
Pat Booth was a grown
Was
man too.
he was in your
He was
class?
in my class,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was a freshman. We were JV. We were glorified blocking dummies, right? For varsity, and I think he was playing tight end, and they had me for some reason because it was just like whatever, get out there. I was playing defensive back, and I came around and never saw Pat, but he came across the flats and put his face mask in my ear hole. And my soul left my body for a hot minute.
Listen, not to
Yeah.
downplay anything he had done previous to high school sports-wise, but Patrick was always tall and lanky, and in high school, especially junior and senior year, he started to gain some weight,
Yeah, he did.
some muscle,
Yeah.
and he
He was a
found a
man.
certain intensity to go along with that size. And Patrick in high school was a load.
Yeah. Well,
And
I found that out.
He played
my
motivated
freshman
also.
year.
Yeah.
Found it out. Thank you, Patrick Booth, for,
Yeah, do you
for
remember his
ruining
dad?
my feelings about football.
You remember his dad
I
cheering?
do.
Let's go, Leonard! You could hear him yelling.
Legendary referee.
He was my
Yeah.
first.
legendary
Pat Booth was
legendary basketball referee.
Oh yeah.
Pat Booth was my first basketball coach, and like
He had a lot of school spirit.
I'm trying to tell Garrett into the side of the mic, not the front of it.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me what
Garrett
to do.
is
You're right.
laying his head on the table, looking up at the mic, trying to talk into
Yeah,
it.
it's really awkward.
Garrett,
Stop
if
doing that.
Turn your chair
if you
around.
want to be a part of this, just sit up in your
Why are
chair
you
for
sitting
crying
like
out loud.
AC
Yeah.
Slater?
What were you saying about Pat Booth?
Pat Booth was fifth grade, like little league basketball.
What was Patrick's
He was my
oldest? What was
coach.
his sister's name?
We were the Heat,
Was it?
and the Heat
Alicia?
sucked at that time. And I
Was it
remember
Alicia
telling
Booth?
somebody.
Terrible.
I remember telling somebody who was from Leonard, because that was my first year here. I remember telling somebody that Pat Booth was my coach, and we were the Heat, and their words were, "Well, that sounds like a team he would choose." And I never really knew what it meant, but I guess like the Heat being hot, like
Yeah.
because they were a crappy team at the time.
Yeah.
And everybody else at that point was the Bulls or
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the
Well,
Lakers
There
or
was
the
really
Knicks
only one
or the
team then.
Celtics.
Yeah.
But we were the Heat. And I was like, man, we're just doomed from our name. Nobody's going to take us seriously.
Yeah. Why couldn't
You
you?
know,
be
they're going to look at
Magic or
they're going to
something?
look at the Heat, this fifth grade team, and just
Yeah.
ignore us. They're not even going to give us a chance. But little did I know.
You guys don't remember Patrick Booth's older sister? I think her name was
Mhm.
Alicia.
Oh.
Man,
I remember.
I
Something.
thought she was hot stuff, man.
I remember.
I really did.
You want to put that on the
Speaking of
podcast?
Yeah.
Patrick Booth,
I
yeah, we had a
wanna-
few guys in our class that had older sisters that were like they were really intimidating. Patrick's sister was one of those too.
I'm going to tag him in this. Actually, I
Yeah.
think we're friends on Facebook.
Tag
Now
Pat-
he's like a doctor
tag
and like
Pat
a
Booth.
naval officer.
Yeah,
Not
Yes.
only he's the doctor, a naval officer, and a killer of freshman football defensive backs.
Scoreboard.
Yep. Scoreboard. Patrick Booth.
I'm not sure you're doing it right, Garrett.
It's all right. We say that a lot to Garrett. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Booth. Those are memories I have of Patrick
These are
Booth.
very specific
No,
conversations. this
I
episode.
actually have a very specific memory.
He was
We
good at
lived out
baseball
on
too.
Valley Creek, and he got into a pretty bad accident.
He
We
did.
were the first on scene, my parents and I, and it was violent. It was
Yeah.
a big deal, man.
He did.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks Patrick for hitting me and making
Ear
me
holding
crap.
you, and,
Yeah.
and then you were a good steward and helped him in the crash. That's very good of you.
That is. I was kind of
mean,
thought about putting my foot on his throat. I'll be honest. You know, for a minute, I'm like, you remember that time? you know?
You ear hold me.
Yeah.
What's
But
your
no.
sister's name?
Yeah.
Jason wants to know.
Nah, he was a nice guy. He was good. He was good to me. After he let me know that I couldn't do senior things, you know.
Well, you just weren't there yet.
No, I was
I wasn't
79
either.
pounds. And
I was a
6'6".
senior and I wasn't there yet.
You know, yeah, a strong wind would have blown me over, and he hit me at 37 miles an hour. So
Garrett, you can talk. You don't have to
Yeah.
motion everything.
Yeah.
Garrett's doing sign language over here.
Garrett's like, mute my microphone, please.
Yeah, but I'm good at it.
Hey, speaking of sports, we were talking about you coaching cross country. How's that going?
Well,
All
well, no,
right,
No.
you're just looking forward to basketball then.
I am.
How's your team going to be?
We're going to play hard.
That's good.
There
That's
you
all you
go.
can ask.
That's,
Not if
that's
you
a
win or
Garrett
lose.
Todd signature.
Whenever you do what I do, you know, for a living, if you got kids that will try hard and work hard
That's
for you,
half
then
of
that's
it.
all you can ask. And
Right.
we talk about, you know, we joke around and everything about, you know, Patrick Booth
Sure.
lighting us up, you know, when we were freshmen or anything else like that. But if you got kids that will try hard and give what you got, then what they have, I guess, then you know, it's all worth it.
So let me ask you a question. Outside of Bland, right? Who's going to win the state tournament this year? In your purview.
You know, as
What is
far
Bland?
as
1A, 2A?
we're Bland is a 2A school, and
Okay.
of course, whenever you are in a 2A, you know, classification, the big wig is Martin's Mill,
Okay.
and that's somebody that we would meet in the bi-district round.
Okay.
You know, I mean, Martin's Mill. It's like last year they went undefeated.
My.
They did not lose a
Wow.
game, and they won.
I
you
feel
know,
like
state
Wow.
championship.
they're going to be entitled
You
for the
know,
rest of their life.
Well, they're just it's just a different. It's a different culture. I mean, that's what they do.
Where are they
it happens
located?
South of Canton,
Okay.
in between Canton and Tyler,
All right.
and I mean, it just goes on year after year after year. 1A.
They catch all them Canton and Tyler kids.
Well, it's just
some East Dallas kids.
when it, you know, you got kids that want to play.
Yeah, it's a culture there.
I mean, it continues.
When I lived in Buffalo, Texas, we had to play Mart a lot
yeah,
in
I
football.
mean, Mart is another one.
And they're just outside of Waco. They catch a
There you
bunch
go.
of kids that aren't quite good enough to be the starting team in Waco. They go to Mart and they demolish
Well,
everybody in 2A or
And
3A football.
After a period of time, they might be
Right.
good enough to play
But now
for
they're-
Waco. But
Yeah.
you know, why not go over here and keep this thing
Tradition.
going?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it didn't begin that way, but after a period of time,
Sure.
why not go there?
Well, yeah, now it's
You
got
know,
a
and-
tradition of winning.
And then, you know, in 1A, I mean, you've got, you know, Dodge City, who, you know, is has, you know, just one of the best coaches in the state, and you have Nazareth.
He's a young cat, too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
How old is he?
But, oh goodness,
He's under 30.
Coach Steven. Oh, he's way younger than us. I mean, Coach Stevenson's 27. You know, somewhere around there.
And you
But
just called him one of
he's-
the best coaches in Texas.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, in my opinion, Alex Stevenson is the best girls coach in the state of Texas, and Jeff Bell is the best boys coach in the state of Texas.
Where's Jeff Bell coach?
North Hopkins.
Really?
Yes. I was at North Hopkins, and I left. I was at the North Hopkins coaching the boys, and I left. And there was a coach in between myself and Coach Bell, but he left and went to Kansas. Well, Jeff Bell took the head boys job at North Hopkins, and I mean, just in my opinion, Alex Stevenson is the best girls coach in the state of Texas, and Jeff Bell is the best boys coach in the state of Texas. And I mean, I know them both personally, and I know what they do, and I know what they put into it, and I think that they put more into it and try harder and do the best they can more than anybody else.
So let me ask you this question, then, and it may be a little bit outside your purview, but what do you think about this controversy with Art Briles and Mount Vernon? Have y'all talked about it any?
Well, very little, because that involves football, and I don't pay much attention to football.
Because you were never ear-holed by Patrick Booth when you were a freshman?
No, I don't care.
Well, speaking of high school sports, you had a cool idea for this podcast, and that would be to pit Coach Wrinkle up with the coach of Peaster,
Danny Henderson,
from the historic
Are you working on that
Leonard
for us?
Holiday tournament of 1997?
98?
98?
I
No,
believe it was
96.
98. Was it 96?
Give us a little background on that whole game.
At that point, okay, backing up, of course, the Leonard Holiday tournament has always been a big deal in this area. The Leonard Holiday tournament was kind of the first big-time holiday tournaments in the area.
But you could argue that those couple of years that we're referring to were its biggest, boys and girls.
Leonard was lucky enough to have a state-ranked team, and Coach Kirk Wrinkle, was the head boys coach, and we were lucky enough to bring in some big-time, teams to come to that tournament, and that particular year, which I believe was, now that you mention it, was the 1996 Leonard Holiday Tournament. You had the Leonard team, which was ranked, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe they were ranked in the top 10 that year at the time. So we're talking about December. And then Peaster came to the tournament as well, and I believe that Peaster was ranked in the top 5.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
At that time in 2A boys basketball in the state of Texas. And Danny Henderson has gone on to become one of the most legendary boys basketball coaches in the state of Texas. He after he left, he won several state championships at Peaster. Not that year, not 1996. Whenever you're
welcome, Coach Henderson.
You had the championship game.
Got in his head.
You had the championship game of Leonard and Peaster at the Leonard Holiday Tournament in 1996. But after that, Peaster won some state championships, and Danny Henderson was coach. And then Danny Henderson left Peaster, and he went to Flower Mound Marcus, and he won some state championships at Flower Mound Marcus, and he actually coached some big-time college basketball players and NBA basketball players at Flower Mound Marcus. One of them, Marcus Smart, went on to play for the Boston Celtics for a long time. Phil Forte went on to become one of the best three-point shooters in the Big 12 conference history. And they both played for Flower Mound Marcus. And anyway, after that, Danny Henderson went on and he coached at a couple of different places. He was the assistant head coach at Idaho, and went back to Oklahoma State. And now he's back in Texas high school and coaching over in East Texas. And, I was very lucky whenever I was coaching over in East Texas. I got a hold of Danny Henderson, and I said, "Hey, man, I'd love to come watch one of your practices." And I sent him an email, and he answered back, and he said, "Come on." So I did.
That's cool. That's cool of him.
It was very cool. I mean, we're talking about a very
You
small.
brought your team.
I did.
You brought your team to
I
watch.
was coaching at North Hopkins, which was a very small 2A school at that time, and he was at that point coaching at Duncanville, which 6A, 6A
big school
at that moment. And he said, "Come on," So I loaded up a bus on I could not tell you what day it was, but a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and I drove my kids from North Hopkins. If y'all know where North Hopkins is,
How'd you do with the air brakes?
I was very good at the air brakes at that time.
Did you kill it?
Well, at that time, I had my CDL. Yeah, but we're not going to get into why I lost
Sorry
my CDL.
to divert there.
Yeah.
Those DWIs will do that for you.
Loaded up a bus.
Not what
I'm
happened.
kidding. I'm kidding.
But we went to Duncanville, and we watched them. And, Coach Henderson took us downstairs and showed us the locker rooms and everything. He showed us his state championship rings and everything that he had won.
Got everybody motivated.
He did. And anyway, he was sending everybody out because he was about to start practice. And I went up to him and I said, man,
Practice?
we're talking about practice. But I went up to him and said, I grew up in Leonard, Texas. I was there. 1996 Leonard Holiday Tournament. 109 to 100. Leonard over Peaster. And he looked at me and he said, oh, my God. That game still haunts me.
Really?
Well, for
He
competitive
did. That's what he
people like
told me.
that, I'm sure.
That's cool.
I'm sure there's times
For all the things he's accomplished in his life before and after that, that game still
Gets
haunts him.
This guy-
still keeps him awake.
This
at night.
Now-
guy has coached college basketball at Idaho State University,
That's crazy.
and Oklahoma State University, which is known as a basketball school. But that game, Leonard and Peaster, still means something to him. And he knew it as soon as I said something to him about it. Yeah.
So the idea was to get possibly Coach Wrinkle and him together
we would love.
in an interview format so we could talk to him. Alternatively, if we can't get him to show up, we would like to maybe get the
We
coaching
could maybe
staff
get
from
that whole
that year.
coaching staff.
That
Who was
might-
it? It was
that might be a
Greg
little-
Nix and
And
Coach Maxwell?
Yes,
too.
yes, those were the assistant
I
coaches.
think we could make either of those.
I,
maybe both
Wrinkle,
of those scenarios
Maxwell,
happen.
Nix.
Coach Wrinkle is retired, and he still works,
Uh,
but he's
I
retired
seen
from
on
the public
Facebook that
education.
Coach Wrinkle said just the other day he plans on being here for the Leonard Holiday Tournament.
Yeah, we
this
got to
year.
make that happen.
So
So we
we should do a remote and
Coach
snag him.
Henderson is the big what if because he is still
Sure.
coaching.
That's
Yeah,
actively.
so,
Right.
yeah.
But
At the very least, we want Wrinkle to talk about this game, and Garrett did a pretty good job painting the picture. And this is something I've been laying awake at night thinking about. There have been some magic moments in Leonard sports.
Yeah.
I think you could argue that may be
That's
one of
the
or
magic
the
moment.
most
Yeah.
magical moment in Leonard sports, at least in my
That's pretty
lifetime. I
big.
know
I got to throw one out there that I was involved with.
you were in a
It-
pretty good one too.
the triple overtime with Van Alstyne.
Yeah,
Where we won that.
holiday tournament.
Yeah, it was holiday tournament, and your boy who fouled out every time.
yeah. I think
I had-
Kenneth fouled out too.
Well,
you
I had-
didn't foul out that
I
game,
had
did
4 fouls by the third quarter, and somehow made it through the whole triple overtime without fouling.
you? 3
Again,
overtimes.
yeah.
That was a great game
Anyway,
too.
yeah, that was a great game, but I don't really think there's another Leonard sports history that, except maybe Coach Francis in the baseball, where
Yeah.
he beat somebody 7,000 to 1 or something.
Do you remember that score, Garrett?
I do not remember the score, but I do know that
It was in Sports Illustrated magazine.
If you mentioned it to
Really?
Coach Francis,
You didn't know this, Matthew?
No.
he would pull the Sports
No.
Illustrated
Coach
edition
Francis
out of his desk
Kept it in his
and
desk.
show it to you.
No.
You didn't know this story,
Yeah.
Garrett?
What?
They were playing Chisholm.
Mhm.
They were playing Paris Chisholm. They had just
You said
started
baseball?
their
Baseball.
baseball program.
Varsity baseball.
And we
See,
were
I-
pretty good, apparently. Don't get me to
I
lie
believe,
about
and
baseball.
I can't name any more than this, I believe Brian Kaler and Kelly Pemberton were on that team. So maybe we could ask them.
He
They
was
might tell.
coaching then. See, I don't know him as a
Francis was
coach.
coaching. Yeah.
Coach
Everybody
Francis-
knew him as a coach.
Yeah.
I didn't know him as a coach.
He was coaching, and they were playing Paris Chisholm, and Paris Chisholm had just at the time started the baseball program, and we stole a lot of bases, and from what they say, we stole a world record.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all this right now because what y'all are doing, you need to talk to Johnny McKinney because Johnny McKinney will know every single thing about anything sports-wise
We should have him.
connected to Leonard ISD athletics.
Here's an idea for you, Matthew. I'm going to throw this at you. During this year's Leonard Holiday Tournament,
Yeah.
let's do a remote at
Okay.
the tournament.
Okay.
Just mainly for access to people who are in town.
Yeah.
Let's get Johnny McKinney.
Okay.
Any coaches we can get, and let's just have a day, a marathon maybe
Roundtable.
of Leonard sports stories.
Yeah.
And get what we can get. We'll just do the whole day.
Sounds good
I'll
to
sit
me.
there all day and listen to people if that's what
Sure.
it takes. We'll just cut them into episodes and put them out there.
I like it.
It'll be a Christmas gift
Yeah.
for our listeners.
Johnny McKinney is extremely knowledgeable about anything and everything. I mean, a lot of people don't realize y'all need to go, and I say this like I know what I'm talking about, Archie White. You need to look at what Archie White did athletically, football-wise, the yards that he racked up, state record-wise, are insane. And people don't talk about Archie White enough.
Are we talking about rushing or just total
Yes.
yards from
Yes.
scrimmage?
Yes.
Wow.
And
So does he hold the Leonard rushing record?
to be honest, I can't tell you anymore, but I know who would, and that's Johnny McKinney.
Johnny.
Archie White.
Am I mistaken to think that Trey Trenholm held the Leonard rushing record for a while?
I don't know. I know Trey Trenholm was up there for many, many years, but I also know that Archie White.
I think
Wouldn't mind
things
getting
that
him
were
on here.
just
Yeah.
almost
I would love to.
unfathomable.
I'd like to get Trey on here.
We're talking Leonard high school football rushing records. I would say I'm not familiar with Archie White or what he done. I would say just my guess of top 5. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't even know if this is accurate or not. I would guess Trey Trenholm is probably in the top 5 Leonard rushing yards. Martin Harris, probably.
Martin Harris, really?
Yeah. Justin Griffiths, maybe. I know DJ Brown's probably creeping in on that. He's just a sophomore, and I think he's over 2,500 yards.
I wonder what
in his
Michael
career.
Daugherty did. He ran a lot,
He did.
too.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he had the ball as much as Justin. Justin, I think, played varsity maybe 3 or 4 years, so that's a lot of rushing
Remember
yards.
Jason Rowland,
Yeah.
maybe?
I
don't know what he
not
ran, though.
Sure.
He was more of a
no, I did.
basketballer, wasn't he?
Well, he was good at football. He was a DB. I remember that a lot. I don't remember what he did on offense. I'm just names I can think of off the top of my head. I would guess Martin Harris, Trey Trenholm, maybe Justin Griffiths, Pat Hicks, little Pat Hicks, probably. I'm just guessing here.
I don't know Pat Hicks.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've got some. Garrett just exited stage right really quickly. I don't know. But anyway, I've got a couple of coaching questions I want to ask him. But you're going to New Braunfels. You and I may be going to Blake Shelton.
Maybe.
Any other plans for the weekend?
Nah, I'm gonna take this weekend off from plans. Last weekend we had my wife's birthday. And
That's right. That was fun.
that was fun. We had some folks over, Matthew. We'd like to have you over sometime, you and
Whoop.
Kevin,
More than happy to come over.
when
Sure.
you guys aren't doing
Anytime.
something exciting and
Anytime.
and cool every weekend.
Anytime, kind of.
Anytime, kind of. That's right. That's the most adult answer I've heard since we started. this.
Let's get together and break some plans sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You okay,
So
Garrett?
Garrett's back.
yeah, Garrett's back.
Little Pat Hicks too. What do
Yeah.
you think? He probably had a lot of rushing yards
Oh,
too.
there's no doubt. I mean, people talk about him, and he was a stud.
He was a bruiser, man.
I mean,
I remember when I was a little kid
He
going
would
to
hurt
watch
you.
Leonard playoff football when Jason Marshall and Tiger Baxter.
Tiger
hey,
Baxter.
let's all hold
Yeah.
let's all hold a good
Yeah.
thought for Tiger Baxter.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So
I'm
And
not,
if
I'm
he
not going to
doesn't
get
know
into
why,
why, but
oh,
Then
I'm gonna.
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiger
Yeah.
Baxter.
Hey, speaking of coaches, we haven't talked about this on the 12 o'clock siren, but I'm going to bring it up now. We lost a good one recently.
we did.
Coach David Walker. Man, like I think I said something to Lindsey Graves on the old Book of Faces and said I don't have a bad experience with Coach Walker. Like I was a idiot in school, you know, but I acted right for him. He never like got on to me. I mean, he yelled at me a lot, but it was like joking.
You know, I never had a class with
Man,
Coach
I
Walker.
loved that guy. I'm not. Garrett was very close with him. I would see him usually at Garrett's games, and we would sit together and have a good time. And I don't have a bad memory of the guy.
Yeah, I think Garrett was like a surrogate son to Coach Walker.
I've been
And cross country prodigy.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I've been very blessed to have a lot of good mentors in my life. And, our guest, y'all's guest, Arvis Buchanan is one of them. But I cannot speak high enough of David Walker. David Walker was a girls basketball coach, and I, by hook or by crook, followed into that profession. And I followed some talent and went out to way out in West Texas, and won a lot of ball games. And I was out west of Amarillo, and I got a hold of Coach Walker, and I told him, I said, I'm playing a playoff game out here if you're available. And David Walker drove out there, and did not have to. And there was no reason for Coach Walker to drive out there. I mean,
and you largely regarded him, like in your worldview, as one of the best X's and O's coach there was, right?
As far as I'm concerned, David Walker is the best X's and O's coach that has ever come through Leonard, Texas.
Right.
And that's not to put down any other
of course
basketball coach. I learned a lot from Kirk Wrinkle. I learned a lot from Greg Nix. I know that Coach London did a lot of good. Ray Hamilton did many good things whenever he coached here at Leonard, Texas, and influenced many coaches. Brad Evans won a lot of games down in Central Texas, and whenever he took the head job at Ector, running Ray Hamilton's stuff. But just in my personal opinion, and those guys are great, and I'll steal from any of them. I will steal from any of them. But as far as just X's and O's and the way things go, David Walker was in a class that I just can't even quantify how much that good he did for teaching kids the way to play basketball. And
he was just a great man. He was a good man all around.
As I said, I went out coaching way out West Texas, and he did not have to come to a playoff game of mine, but he did.
Yeah.
And
not only came, he kind of helped you scheme for the game, right?
He came.
And he was retired at the time?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think he was still working a little, substitute.
Yeah, he was retired.
Yeah.
And we went, y'all know how it is. After a high school basketball or football or anything, softball, baseball team wins, so you usually take them out to eat.
Right.
Well, we went out to eat after we won a playoff game to Abuelos in Amarillo, Texas. And Coach Walker came, and he knew who we had to play next. And anybody who knows anything about high school basketball, and it doesn't matter, boys or girls, Nazareth, that name means something.
Right.
And if that name doesn't mean anything to you,
he said, guess what? You're going hungry after the next game.
Google it. Google it and see what it means. Nazareth High School, Texas. Anyway, we sat down, and he did everything he could to help me. And we've been blessed with some great coaches, and I think that David Walker was one of them. And that's a man that I cannot say enough good things about, and he had such a positive impact on my life that
you've been singing his praises for years and years.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he was your number one mentor and a life coach too, right?
He did much more for me than he had to.
Sure.
And that's what a good coach does.
Yeah.
That's what a good coach does.
Well,
and you carry that on.
They have to.
Yeah, you carry the flame, and man, I was a big fan of Coach Walker, and he's missed by a lot of people other than just his family and close friends. There were people on the fringes like myself who I wasn't super close to him, but he had a positive impact on me, and we had good conversations as I was an adult, in my early 30s, and
I remember some of my teams having playoff warm-up games or playoff games, and of course, getting a hold of you, James,
Yep.
and telling you, hey, man, we're going to be playing here if you want to come, and you coming, and also Coach Walker showing up.
Yeah, I think
That
one of
means
the
a
last
lot to me.
places
Both of y'all.
I sat next to him was at that playoff warm-up in Burleson, and that was one of the last times we saw each other. He was a really good dude, and he's missed.
We won that game too, by the way.
Yeah, you did. But then I talked you all up, and I brought my buddy Scott Carey. We came to Bell's to some
I
playoff
went with
game.
y'all.
Yeah, it was me, you, and Scott, and you lost.
And then we lost.
Embarrassed
May
me.
have been my fault because
hey.
every time I've watched Garrett in the playoffs, I've made him lose.
Hey,
So
if
And he was
David,
like, "Which one's your friend?" I said, "I don't even know anybody coaching here. I don't know."
if David Walker would have been sitting over there with me, we'd have won.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right, Garrett. So as a longtime resident, we're coming up. We're getting close to wrapping up here. What do you see as a born in Leonard, a BIL, as Eugene talked about? What do you see?
I am a BIL.
Yeah.
Eugene did.
Well,
he's
I
not.
know.
Garrett and I are,
Got
but
2 BILs here.
Yeah, 50% here tonight. It's BILs. You see Leonard changing? It's changing, isn't it?
It is. You know,
We got a Domino's.
Yeah.
I don't
How do
think
you
that
feel
was a
about that?
positive.
I have not ate there yet. But then again, I
well,
was against
anytime
the
we have
Sonic.
choices, the consumer
That's
wins.
true.
So
That's true.
I'm not going to hate on there being a Domino's. I would say this though, it's okay to go to Domino's, but you better go to Lee's and Zim's too.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
because those people been here for a long time trying to help us out.
That's the thing. I actually heard this, and I do not know this as a matter of fact, but I did hear this earlier today. Of course, if you go out west of town, the pump station, North Texas Municipal Water District, is building a pump station. out
500
there.
jobs.
And I don't know if anybody's driven out that way, but there's 9 cranes.
I know. I can see them from my house.
If you
I
count
counted them the
there's
other day.
9 cranes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I heard that they have given or are going to give a substantial amount of money to the Leonard Chamber of Commerce
That's
for
awesome.
Christmas.
That's great.
And now the Leonard Chamber of Commerce can do with it what they want, but they're going to give them a large sum. Or that's what I was told.
Sure.
I
That's
you
the
know,
rumor.
I have not, I don't see the checks, but that's
Sure.
what I was told. So I guess basically where I'm
Scoreboard.
going with this is this town has always been good to me. This town has a lot of great people that have helped raise me, and I do not know what everybody else thinks about me, but I would like to think that where I am today and what I have today, I can lay at the feet of this town, this community, and that's people like Arvis Buchanan, who
Sure.
is here tonight,
Yeah.
and people
David Walker.
that if and the coaches,
Yep.
yes, and
Yeah,
the
for
school
sure.
system, and I really appreciate it. And I've got so many friends that really have helped me out along the way. And I'm talking like I've got something that's special. I really don't. But
I feel like I'm one of those friends that's helped him along the way.
Yeah, for sure. I think
But-
you asked the wrong person about change and about change in
Well,
Leonard, Texas.
no, but here's the deal,
Garrett
man.
feels very strongly about change in any capacity, but you're talking about change in Leonard, Texas. But to that point, to change here, and there's a lot of change, man. You people driving down the road, you see pipeline coming through.
Yep.
It's probably affected somebody that owns some land here. It's
Yep.
affected people in my family.
For sure.
If there's going to be good and bad,
Of course.
but if it means jobs local, that's
That's
something Leonard has needed for a long time.
Yeah.
I hate to see people losing part of their land too. That's terrible.
Here's
But maybe, just maybe, and we'll see. Maybe it'll bring a little bit of positive change too.
here's how I feel about it. Change is coming whether we want it to or
yeah,
not.
for sure.
Right? We can't stop it. So what we do on this podcast and getting the Arvis Buchanans and the Eugene Kegans and the Gene Martins and getting their stories down and trying to be a good steward of the history of of Leonard and trying to make sure that we as the next caretakers of it can kind of steer it in the right direction and keep what makes Leonard.
That way, when everybody moves in, they can listen and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see where this place is.
You guys,
I'm going to go beat Peaster, too.
I'm sure when you guys first moved here,
Coach Henderson, where's he at?
I'm sure
109 to 100.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you guys first moved here, you've seen a little bit of what Garrett and I have always known and what our parents have always known, the charms that Leonard does offer.
Absolutely.
And Eugene and Arvis and Scoop Johnson and Gary Doole and people like that are large contributors to that charm. And I didn't know until recently how much it meant and how involved I wanted to be. But watching Matthew and what he's doing, getting involved with the chamber and stuff like that, has made me want to get more involved.
Of course.
And especially talking to people like Arvis, I don't want to let that go. The charm that Leonard has, I want that to carry on forever.
Yeah. Whether it's 2,000 or 100,000 people.
I know Garrett feels the same. We talk about this probably more often than any other topic, is how much growing up here has meant to us. And we want it to be the same for our kids and kids, down the road. I want them to be, I'm from Leonard, Texas. It's a special place. It really is.
It is. And, like I said, I don't know that I am anybody's shining light, but
you're my shining light.
Well,
okay.
you know what? That makes me feel
Katie's.
special. Well,
I think he might be more my shining light than hers. But
I do appreciate.
JK, Katie.
I do.
JK.
I do appreciate the person that I am, and I really do. I mean, and this is
that's
not
a weird statement.
This is not anything put on, but who I am, I do think is this town.
Yeah, Leonard, Texas' favorite son.
I would be honest. If Leonard, Texas had a profile pic, Garrett Todd would be it.
Leonard, Texas' favorite son here, Garrett
That's
Todd.
it. Sons of Leonard.
I guess we've talked about way more stuff than I thought we would get into.
Yeah, sorry. If you're not into Leonard Sports, go ahead. Just listen to the next episode. Whatever. I don't know. Matthew, what are you writing down?
I don't have time to go to Atoka.
I don't have time to go to Atoka.
You're writing it with the wrong hand. I know that.
No, Matthew is correct-handed.
No.
Waylon Wilkin does.
I tell you what, we were at the Chamber of Commerce meeting 2 days ago. There were 6 people at our table. We were all lefties.
That's
the Manor folks, your
that's
wife.
a meeting of the minds.
Are you sure you weren't in Australia?
It was great. It was awesome.
You wrote that down. That you don't have time to go to Atoka. All right.
Our time.
Look. I
don't have time to go to Atoka.
I'm going back to the 12 o'clock siren episode 1.
Oh, this is a good quote, too.
Eugene Keggins was trying to tell y'all that there are gorillas.
Yeah. There's gorillas in Kansas or wherever.
Okay. Eugene grew up in Trent, Texas.
That's right.
It's the only town in Texas that has a mascot of gorillas.
Yep.
But y'all totally glossed over the fact that he says, there are gorillas in Kansas. What he meant was there's
school.
colleges.
That
college in Kansas.
Didn't he go into that?
He did. He did a little bit.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
I
you
think
go back
he went
and listen
into
to that. We talked about it a
All
little bit.
we heard was there's gorillas in Kansas. So there are gorillas in Kansas.
Yeah.
Matthew Harvey.
All right.
Yeah. Well, next time.
Editor's note: there are gorillas in Kansas.
Yeah. Next time somebody says something that I don't know how to respond, I will say there's gorillas in Kansas.
The other quote I'm taking away is, "I appreciate the way I am."
Yeah. I appreciate who I am.
Said by Garrett Todd. All I'm saying is I appreciate the way I am.
Also, I never knew
mean
before
that.
we had Garrett as a guest that we were going to play charades all night because he was motioning a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And laughing quietly.
And laughing quietly, but uproariously.
He looked like he was in the drill team.
Yeah, yeah.
What about
Speaking of drill team, Jason?
Speaking of drill team.